Okay, yeah, we're live.
Hi, everybody. We're creatively bankrupt, and we opened second beers, so we're just going to do hey, we're really fucking old. You know what was 20 years ago? 1998. You remember any good movies that year?
Well, hold on. Let's back up a little. We were discussing that the Oscars in general are one of the things that they always fuck up on.
This isn't generally because of this year's Oscars. This is just in general.
Yeah, in general.
If you ever are bored, take a look back at a year, and you will guaranteed find a movie that affected you more probably than the Best Picture, in most cases. Especially in the last 20 years or 30 years.
Well, how many years is it for the NFL Hall of Fame that you need to be out of the league?
I think you got to be out for 5. And that's if you're a first ballot, you're like a top tier player.
Right. So it should be the same thing with movies. I get it that you want to honor the movies as they're coming out at the end of the year, but they really need to go back and at least give out awards for movies that have the bigger cultural impact that stand the test of time.
Yeah, and I also hate that the Oscar window feels like it's a 2-month period just before the Oscars. You have an entire year that you're supposedly looking at, and then you just look at the last 3 months.
Logan.
Yeah.
Logan.
Now I'm just flashing back to that video where they're like, oh, for people who only saw comic book movies. I will have you know I saw more than comic book movies this year. But no.
Hashtag Logan was snubbed. Was that a thing?
Since we can't overthrow the entire Academy and reestablish what they should be looking at for Best Picture, we've talked about maybe there's a revision award where you retroactively make something a Best Picture for a year in the past because you realize, hey, remember that movie Shakespeare in Love? Does anybody remember Shakespeare in Love?
No. It won Best Picture.
Yeah.
If you look at the stuff that it was up against, the one that everybody says should have won is Saving Private Ryan. And between the two, let's face it, Shakespeare in Love, who the fuck still watches Shakespeare in Love? Nobody.
No. If you win a Best Picture, you shouldn't be a movie that's just thrown away.
Cultural relevance, though, it's tough to beat.
Did American Beauty win? Because
that wasn't this year, though. I'd have to go back.
But I'm saying I don't know if it won, but that's like, it's one of those movies where you're like, oh no, like I haven't watched it in forever. Crash? Is Crash Best Picture quality?
No.
No?
Gladiator? Well, we can look that up, though. That was a weak year.
Gladiator was a weak year, but also Gladiator is just an action movie, and the fact that an action movie won gives hope for stuff like Logan to possibly win, or Mad Max could have possibly won, because fucking Gladiator won.
But they didn't.
No, they didn't. Something artsy-fartsy came out a week before the Academy got their screeners.
I'm not upset with this year, though. The Shape of Water, I'm okay with.
Yeah, a weirdo making an original movie?
Yes.
Well, depending on where that supposed lawsuit goes. But
no,
weirdo making an original movie is better than just Oscar bait winning.
Well,
like The Post.
Yeah. So we've already talked at length about Deep Impact and how it's better than Armageddon. And how they came out at the same time. I want to watch
them again. I want to do homework for you people and actually watch Deep Impact again, because I haven't watched it probably in 15 years.
But that was 98. But we're looking at the rest of this list, and The Truman Show was 98. The Big Lebowski was 98. There's Dark City. Dark City is a criminally underrated movie. I'm not saying it's Best Picture. 98.
Oh no, it definitely unique. Even today, it would be considered unique, I would think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe today it would be seen as derivative because it kind of was The Matrix a year before The Matrix in a weird way. Not completely, but in the malleable world element, I guess.
Some of the same filming locations, too.
Oh, really?
Yes. American History X, which I don't know why that doesn't get more consideration. That seems like something that, looking back on, that somebody would have nominated.
If it weren't for movie channels nowadays picking that movie up and playing heavily edited versions of it, like FX and stuff, I think it would still be a kind of cult movie that you would kind of expect the FBI to be knocking on your door.
If you're watching.
Why
did you buy this on Amazon?
Yeah.
So looking back at 1998, what else? The Negotiator. Rounders!
Rounders was 98?
Rounders was 98.
His money.
98 was apparently one of the best years in my lifetime for movies.
Oh man, Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Oh, hold on, hold on.
Oh man, no, just.
But actual movies that I would consider in the running for retroactive. I don't want to say retroactive Best Picture, but whatever the fuck we're going to call this. Godzilla.
Oh God! No! The worm guy. The
No,
worm guy.
What Dreams May Come is. I don't understand. Was that nominated? Do you know?
Oh man, Almost Heroes came out that year. The last Chris Farley movie. Not that that matters anything, but that's no.
It's worth looking at, but no, we're both big fans of What Dreams May Come, right?
I think it's underrated because I remember even when I was younger, people thought it was a bad movie, and I was like, I don't get why people think it's a bad movie.
I haven't seen it in ages.
I think
but
the last
I
I'd seen any of it, my mom was watching it late at night and crying, and I was like, I know where most of my stock comes from. Apparently,
I watched it when it was brand new. So
I watched it on VHS in my mom's office when I was in like middle school.
Yeah, and then does that make Patch Adams the worst Robin Williams movie of that year?
I bet he had 3 movies that year or something. It wasn't his heyday because his heyday was probably like the 80s. And this is where we found out that Mrs. Doubtfire somehow came out in 1998 as well.
Gun to my head, I'd have to say 95?
I don't know. I feel like it's older. It's between Hook and some of his other more like.
Okay, but looking
Dirty Work came out in 98.
The greatest comedy
One of the greatest
the
comedies
90s.
ever, which will be in a comedy episode in which we talk about great comedies.
I'm sure everyone's looking forward to it.
Oh, these dead hookers.
There's the Saigon whore that bit off my nose.
Oh,
Speaking of Chris Farley. But looking back on it, I think that we've established that neither of us thought Shakespeare in Love is worth anything. I think I know one person who's ever mentioned it in the last 10 years, maybe.
Yeah,
It's
only us as the butt of a joke about the Oscars ever.
No, one person mentioned it positively. Facebook comment or something.
The spoof movie Mafia came out in 98.
I think we're going a little bit too far back at this point, though. No, if we're looking at what you think would have been a hindsight Best Picture nomination, do you just give it to Saving Private Ryan? It was nominated and didn't win. Do you just alter that at this point because of how much that movie did?
Significance-wise, it changed how every Joe Schmo that does a war movie now.
Yes. It's one of the few war movies that... I don't even say that. I really like Saving Private Ryan. It's not... we're getting back into the Dunkirk conversation.
No, I'm already vetoing this. I would give Rushmore Best Picture.
Wait, really?
Rushmore, according to Wikipedia, which is always right, everybody, came out in, looks like, October of 98.
Why Rushmore?
Because Rushmore is incredibly unique and original in every way. This is just me playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
It would have gotten original screenplay or direct, or not. It wouldn't have gotten direction because Spielberg actually cared when he was making Saving Private Ryan.
Only one movie though started its own religion, and that's The Big Lebowski.
That's true. I don't roll on Shabbos.
And Dudism is an official recognized religion.
No. Honestly, I think today, you would probably, the way the Academy votes today, American History X would probably have won Best Picture.
Isn't that fucking weird?
Today it probably would have, like, even up against Saving Private Ryan would have gotten the technical awards.
What has changed then in the last 20 years?
I think the Academy votes more for cultural significance than the overall appeal of than the originality of the film. So I feel like with a movie like Shakespeare in Love winning, it was because it was an incredibly original idea. It was we know enough of the real history here, we're just going to play loose with it and do our own thing. And I think that was refreshing, so they went with that instead of a historical drama.
Fair, but 1993, you have Jurassic Park, and that really ushered in the era of VFX as entering a new era. 5 years later, we're talking about 1998. Again, 5 years after Jurassic Park revolutionized the way that we picture movies. I think at the time you still had a lot of room for this is something that is innovating this industry. It deserves to get a nod for that. So Saving Private Ryan really did revolutionize the way that people shot action.
Here's another thing. Shakespeare in Love came out in December. It looks like. You know what else came out in December? The Thin Red Line. The way the Academy votes, The Thin Red Line would probably win direction.
But it's the inferior movie.
But this is, you know what I'm saying? Just us judging how the Academy tends to vote nowadays is anything that's more esoteric seems to win because the Academy wants to seem more esoteric and we know movies that you don't know.
This kind of gives me hope for the Academy, though, because if we're saying that now American History X would have potentially won Best Picture, even over Saving Private Ryan, that kind of means that the Academy is done with, hey, this is new and inventive. Let's actually look at what this movie is trying to say and give it...
But in the same breath, looking at those supposed screener note leaks, they didn't even consider Get Out.
Which is disappointing.
You know what I mean? Like so.
That's
one potential screener that could have all been faked. Who knows?
And if you were only to tell me, hey, by the way, we got movies X, Y, Z, and this movie from Blumhouse. If you didn't tell me anything else about it, I could forgive you if that's the only thing you knew for maybe not wanting to watch it. That being said, Get Out was fantastic. If Shape of Water didn't win, I would have loved to have seen Get Out win. But yeah, 98. Much better year than I had anticipated when I typed that into Google.
Just looking through that because we're lazy and, like I said, creatively bankrupt.
And we decided to just hit record, and this is basically the conversations that we have when we're not recording, but now we're recording them.
We're putting them out there for your entertainment. But no, that's that. I feel like I'd like it if there was a bit more. You know what? Maybe if they did a post-Oscar like granted it would be a completely doctored up statement from the Academy if they explained what for the big ones. Like if they explained why their choice was what their choice was. Maybe in like a paragraph like.
But the way the Academy is structured, at least the way I understand it, is you've got thousands of members.
Yeah.
And
so I'm saying it would be something doctored up, but if it was like we thought that the creativity and originality of this, like even just something like a simple blurb like that would be enough that even if I didn't agree with it, I could read that and be like, well, at least I know why they went with this.
But there's a point system. So in theory, let's say you've got, 9 movies. Let's say that people are being wildly divergent on what their number 1 is, and some people were putting their 1 at someone else's 9.
So what you're saying is we need to make our own movie and have it be a 12 Angry Men about the Academy?
We'll get back to that too. But let's say that everybody consistently voted that the number 2 was everybody's number 2. And everybody was taking other movies. Somebody's number 1 was somebody else's number 9.
Yeah.
And
we're wildly divergent. The number 2 becomes the best picture.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's that too.
So in that sense, it's like.
So how do
it's
you
like
actually?
It almost needs like an electoral college level where it's like we have like 5 top tier.
Yeah, there's no way to know exactly what these people are thinking unless you were to poll the audience of 6,000 people or something in the Academy.
I don't know. I'm glad that it's that much though.
Is it that much? I don't know.
Probably 10.
No,
it's like the college football selection board of like 5 people.
Fuck it, Google. Keep talking while I Google this. but
no.
What would you put it?
Like the way I was saying, if there was even just a blanket statement with no definitive author or voice to it, that just kind of was like, in the Academy's estimation, this movie or this actor deserved it because of this or this that they did in this role. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool if there was a little bit of like afterword on it instead of it just being this faceless organization that's just you get an award because we determine that you get an award.
Here we go. 7,258 voters.
What an arbitrary number.
Yeah, and we can't get the guys from Red Letter Media just to be 2 more members. Put it to an even 7,260.
Well, at least they're not as curmudgeonly biased as the Baseball Writers Association.
Speaking of those summaries, who the fuck writes the summary for Rotten Tomatoes? There's always one summary right underneath the score.
There's just one guy slaving away.
All those votes, and one person has.
I wonder if that's not just an algorithm that pulls out summarization words from all of the critical ones and just puts together a coherent sentence.
I accept my new robot overlords. Thank you, Rotten Tomatoes. Do we have a consensus though on what should have won in 1998?
I don't know. I think the one that I think going with what most people would have seen and believed was that year, it would probably have been it probably would have been Saving Private Ryan. What was the whole list of nominees? Do you have it up right now?
I can look it up. 1999.
So I bet we can just at face value with what we have seen or what we haven't, just throwing them out based on that. If it's something I haven't seen or you or I haven't
Sorry,
seen.
don't mean to cut you off. Thin Red Line was on there.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thin Red Line, Saving Private Ryan, Life is Beautiful, Shakespeare in Love, and Elizabeth.
How the fuck did the worst movie get picked?
I don't know.
I'm betting it was that benchmark. Everybody was wildly all over the place, and that was the number 2.
Could have been. If I have to throw
or maybe it was Moonlight and the ballot was wrong.
And no one ever said anything.
Yeah.
But Saving Private Ryan, yes, I agree, should be on that list. American History X
should have been on that. Should have replaced Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, What Dreams May Come.
Thin Red Line was going to be on there because it's the artsy fartsy movie. That is like it's a creative vision, but it's not a good movie to somebody dumb like a brainlet like me.
Special shout out to The Negotiator for just being a movie that I like, but not even close to being in this conversation.
But no, I mean, Life is Beautiful was that just because every foreign World War II era movie was getting noms?
I guess. I don't know.
When was Schindler? A couple years before? Schindler was 93?
No. I own it.
I think it was 93, 94. It was around there. Because there was a Seinfeld episode
93.
where there was a joke about it. Yeah, it was
93.
It was around there. But no, because like Life is Beautiful is one of those hard hitting Holocaust films.
Oh.
Where he's trying to hide how bad everything is in the ghetto from his kid, I think.
Yeah. Okay, leave it on there. I can see it.
But I mean, thematically, 3 World War II movies. I'm holding up a 4. 3 World War II movies, because my hands don't work. 3 World War II movies were on the list. So I guess there's that fatigue that maybe by the time they had finished watching 2 and then they got to Saving Private Ryan, they were like this doesn't have enough artistic shots of flowers like Terrence Malick puts in his movie.
And then Elizabeth and Shakespeare in Love were the other 2.
And then they just went British.
I guess my vote might have to be for American History X.
I think if you're going with if the vote was about estimated cultural significance, it probably would have been that.
Yeah.
In terms of industry significance, it would have been Saving Private Ryan.
I'd have been happy
Summation,
with,
it never fucking should have been Shakespeare in Love.
yeah, I would have been happy with either.
Because Ralph Fiennes didn't even really have the only other movie I feel like Ralph Fiennes ever did was Enemy at the Gates.
No, that wasn't the same year. It was the year after.
No,
A couple years later. So in summary, 1998, underrated.
Honestly, I thought we were going to be like, oh, 98, we're going to see. I mean, that was Armageddon, so I was like, oh, we're in for it. But no, looking back at it, there was a lot of good stuff that came out. I wonder if we were to do this every once in a while on just any year in general.
Yeah,
not necessarily the 20th anniversary of a year, but like you'd be like, you know what? Of all the endless trash that came out that year, there were some nuggets in that. There were some uneaten kernels in that turd.
If your food analogies have gone downhill over the last week. Your gourmet meal microwave analogy to now uneaten kernels in the.
Yeah, we're looking for the kernels of corn in your stool now.
You found the marble in the oatmeal.
But no, it's just.
Yeah, if there's a year you want us to
if this
tackle,
is going to be the Oscar video in this harebrained lazy Oscar video, that's I guess just I wish there was a direction or a reasoning behind what's picked for Best Picture, and I feel like in recent years they've been trying to go with culturally significant.
Well, they added a bunch of newer, younger people, but
which was probably needed.
We're talking a few hundred out of 7,000,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that none of the new people that were added were the ones that skipped Get Out.
Yeah, I would hope. One would hope.
I just watched that recently too, in preparation for the Oscars, and it should have had the hype that Black Panther had.
Yeah, Black Panther stole its thunder.
A year later.
No, it's like if it's like with Annihilation, which I want to see they didn't push the fact that it's an all-female cast, but it's an all-female cast in a movie nobody saw because the studio didn't push it. Not because of that angle, but just because the studio didn't like the directors, the director not wanting to change things to make it simple.
If you're still listening to this, and if by the time I get this up online, Annihilation is still in theaters, please go see it. Know that your $12 has gone to a movie that actually deserved it. I'll be going to see it at least one more time during its theatrical run, Blu-ray purchase after.
Movie Pass get here soon.
Yeah.
There's some stuff I want to see. I actually, let's just round this out with we have nothing else to talk about, but things that we want to see.
Sure.
I keep hearing good things about Game Night. Being a comedy, I would never expect that. But you know what? We're gonna go see it, and we're gonna be disappointed because we have expectations now because people are like, it's better than just a night out comedy should be.
I like Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
Ozark, if you haven't watched it, is phenomenal.
I love him in Arrested Development, and in even crap like Horrible Bosses, he's a good straight man.
He's probably the best part of those movies, but it's not my kind of humor. So,
did you see Mike Judge's Extract?
No,
I did. It's weird, but he plays basically that too. He plays the straight man type of that.
All right, so 1998. It's not exactly nostalgia at this point because who's nostalgic for 1998?
I don't know. 20 years is classic. Classic cars are what, 25?
I do.
So you're saying my 1994 Tempo, my 1994 Tempo would have been a classic car?
Same with my 93 Le Mans.
Oh,
Teal green with a spoiler. It's a little.
So it's not weird if we're out there waxing cars that have tons of duct tape on them and stuff now.
No, but 98's a good year. I was 14 in 98, so I've had my whole adult life to look back on these movies. It's a good cutoff point. I mean, I was old enough being 14 to go.
That's
and
when you really start forming your adult, your burgeoning adult opinion on like what's a good movie or what's not.
And
like, it's kind of when you start determining like, you know, this is kind of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By that age, I knew full well that Mortal Kombat Annihilation
was not a good movie.
Not even close. So even a bloodthirsty 12-year-old.
But at the same time, you'll start cheating in movies and then still go see Batman and Robin, which maybe I did.
For the soundtrack. I'm gonna dig you out of this one. It was for the soundtrack.
Sure. Apparently, Arnold Schwarzenegger still pays the studio to keep his Mr. Freeze costume.
Why?
I don't know. Mysteries to be solved later. Apparently.
Is it next to was it Power Man costume or
Turbo
Man. Mr. Freeze. That's the crossover we haven't gotten yet. Mr. Freeze versus Turbo Man.
Yeah.
But no, 1998 is it's really where we started
oddly enough, us looking back at it to have a jab at it, we realized, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff that we still really like now that came out then. Not necessarily that we all saw then. I don't think I saw Dark City until maybe I was 17.
I was probably about that age. Yeah. I used to get promo copies of movies before they came out, so it was a good gig. But my mother worked for a video distributor, so
it's one of the few movies in my collection that still has the cardboard clap box DVD case.
I need to retire it respectfully and get a Blu-ray update, but all right.
Just a salute. Like,
all right.
Like Big Boss in front of Boss's grave and Metal Gear Solid 3, just saluting a true patriot.
I have no idea what you just said.
Man.
But on that note, 98, good year. If there's any other years that you want us to tackle, leave it in the comments.